Good evening, respected district dignitaries, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Hello, and welcome to DTAC 2020-2021 finals of our International Speech Contest. Someone once said, and I quote, "No speech can be effective if it contains facts alone. It must also contain emotions, image, logic, and promise." And let me tell you something. What you're about to witness in the next 2 to 3 hours is the brilliance of our extremely talented Toastmaster members in bringing all of it with just their words. But before that, let me introduce myself. I am your Chief Sergeant at Arms Toastmaster Atira Gopakumar, and I would like to begin by stating the mission of Toastmasters: to empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders, to provide a mutually supportive and a positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Some rules to be respected during the contest. Please turn off your audio and video unless instructed. Please use the chat box to communicate as and when instructed. Please turn off all the noise-making devices or put them in silent mode. Please do not switch on the audio or video while the speech is in progress, as it may interrupt the contestant and the contest. Speakers are requested to refrain from making any references to politics, sex, or religion in their speeches. No member of the audience will be allowed to move in or out of the room while the speech is in progress. Also, since it is conducted virtually, I'm sure our contestants would definitely miss the live applause. So to motivate them, let us use the emojis to appreciate their efforts, as it might mean the world to them. I wish you all a fantastic contest. Now, it's time for me to call the sailor of our voyage who would help us create several beautiful memories together. We're all dreamers, isn't it? We are people who dream endlessly. Now imagine you get to know someone who's got your exact same dream. Confused? Let me tell you. Till the current 19th year of my life, I've always dreamt of being an RJ, a radio jockey. Whenever I visited a radio station, the mics, the sound system, everything there has always fascinated me. Imagine my excitement when I realized that our MC for today also aspires to be an RJ. How cool, right? But guess what? There is more to the list. She's also a business development manager at an e-commerce company. It has been a year since she joined Toastmasters as well. I know. All right, let me not take this further. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome our bubbly host, Toastmaster Tulika Pradeep, onto the stage with a huge round of applause.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sergeant at Arms Atira, for a lovely introduction. I couldn't have been introduced in a better way. Our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in rising every time we fail. Quoted by a well-known Chinese philosopher. Welcome to the hottest live radio session of DTAC 2021. You're listening to RJ Tulika. Oops, I meant your host for the final session of DTAC. Assalamu alaikum, namaskaram, sat sri akal, namaste, vanakkam. Hello, district dignitaries, fellow Toastmasters, contestants, and guests. Resilience is very different than being numb. Resilience means you experience, you feel, you fail, you hurt, you fall, but you keep going. My dear friends, this is a story of a fall, the fail, the hurt, yet a resilient will to keep going. The journey of a girl in a new city. Once upon a time, a girl moved to Dubai, the city of dreams. She came with a bag full of ambitions and dreams. She moved to Dubai with stars in her eyes, leaving her comfortable cocoon behind her. After working for an organization for a couple of years, her plans didn't exactly go as she dreamt of. The avalanche of personal and professional challenges hit her. But she was blessed to have a kind soul called Mother around her who held her, supported her, and gently propelled her to move on. As we speak today, this struggling soul of yesteryears has blossomed into a confident, independent woman whose every endeavor is to become a woman of substance. With blessings and poise, that woman stands here in front of you today. Yours truly, Tulika Pradeep. Resilience is our ability to bounce back from the stresses of life. It is about avoiding the stress, but learning to thrive within the stress. Mindfulness and resilience is composed of five pillars, which are self awareness, self care, purpose and relationships, and mindfulness. The most important pillar is self care, which includes gratitude amongst others. It is very important to be grateful for everything that you have in life. My dear audience, you are alive today in this moment. Be happy. And to celebrate that resilience, please repeat after me. I believe I can do anything. I am the best. I am a winner and I love myself. And with that positive sentiment, let's move on to the first segment of International Speech Contest Finals. Ta-da! Audience, give me a high five if you are ready. Now let's begin the contest, the time you all have been waiting for. I would like to invite the contest chair for today. She's a seasoned Toastmaster and she's been in multiple roles in Toastmasters. Professionally, she's been into finance and now enjoys freelance writing about lifestyle. Isn't that amazingly incredible? Her passions include traveling, hiking, reading, and everything that spells adventure. I would like to invite our contest chair for today, Toastmaster Vijaya Sukumar. The stage is all yours.
Thank you so very much for that lovely introduction, Tulika. District dignitaries, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, a very good afternoon to all of you. It is my privilege to be your contest chair for the District 105 International Speech Contest Finals. It has been a year since the world has been battling the pandemic. While there is an air of despondence, there is also that ray of hope that somehow manages to pierce through the clouds of despair. As Emily Dickinson says, hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. Hope is our driving force. It is the wind beneath our wings. It impels us to move on. We can either get bogged down or rise up in the face of adversity. It all depends on our perspective, how we choose to view situations. I believe every adversity is an opportunity for us humans to build resilience. Life is nothing but a kaleidoscope of events, thoughts, experiences. As a kid, I used to be fascinated at how just a small movement of my wrist and all the colored crystals would swirl and twirl into dazzling designs. Each time I shifted the kaleidoscope, I would see a new perspective of the crystals and colors, each arranged into a beautiful new design. If someone else picked it up, the same kaleidoscope would show a different pattern. Today, we have a fantastic lineup of speakers who are just like those precious crystals. They are here to present their perspectives in the form of their speeches, and they truly epitomize hope, as they have, with their passion and perseverance, crossed several levels of competition to reach the finals of the International Speech Contest. Ladies and gentlemen, do sit back and revel in the stellar show that is now about to be unraveled by our kaleidoscope of speakers. Before we commence the contest, please allow me to state the rules for this particular contest. The contestants shall have 5 to 7 minutes to deliver their speech. A contestant will be disqualified if the speech is less than 4 minutes, 30 seconds, or more than 7 minutes, 30 seconds. The contestants have been informed of the timing signals. For the benefit of the audience, the timing signals shall be as follows. The green light will be switched on after 5 minutes and will remain on. The amber light will be switched on after 6 minutes and will remain on. The red light will be switched on after 7 minutes and will remain on till the presentation is completed. 30 seconds grace will be given to the speaker. A disruption slide will be displayed if the contest is halted due to any technical glitches. No indication will be given to the contestant for exceeding the time limit. Timing will begin with the contestant's first definite verbal or non-verbal communication with the audience. It has been confirmed that all the contestants are eligible to contest as per the TMI Contest Speech Rulebook for the Toastmaster year 2020-21. When a contestant is speaking, all other contestants will remain muted with cameras off. We will observe a minute's silence between each contestant, so please be respectful of this courtesy. Our chief judge today is DTM Robin Anand. We have 6 contestants. Hello, sir. We have 6 contestants competing today in the International Speech Contest. Please allow me to introduce the contestants in the speaking order as determined by a draw of lots. I request all contestants to unmute and switch their cameras on in order for the Zoom master to spotlight you. Okay. I will announce the names of the contestants and they are requested to respond by saying hello as their name is announced. Hello. Contestant number 1, Toastmaster Ramesh Gopalan.
Hello.
Hello. Contestant number 2, Toastmaster Abhishek Kokate.
Hello.
Hello. Contestant number 3, Toastmaster Kishore Muktinu Talapati.
Hello.
Hello. Contestant number 4, Toastmaster Ilam Parathi Selvarasu.
Hello.
Hello. Contestant number 5, Toastmaster Surekha Suresh.
Hello.
Hello. Contestant number 6, Toastmaster Hashim Halim.
Hello.
Hello. I would request the Zoom master to kindly take a group picture. Thank you. It is now time to begin the contest. Zoom master, are we good to go? Okay. Timer, please be ready.
Contest chair, 1 second for the tiles to rearrange.
Okay. Time now for the contest to begin. Chief Judge, can we proceed, please?
Toastmaster Vijay, you can proceed.
Thank you. Contestant number 1, Toastmaster Ramesh Gopalan. Can you see the timer?
Yes, I can see timer 2 followed by timer 1, both on my right corner.
Is this your speaking position?
Yes, ma'am.
To check your audio and video, please repeat the sentence. Am I audible? Am I visible?
Am I audible and am I visible?
Yes, you are. Thank you. Contestant number 1, Toastmaster Ramesh Gopalan, Propeller. Propeller, Toastmaster Ramesh Gopalan.
I was the goalkeeper of my school football team. We were the best team. Our defense line was so strong that they never allowed the ball to come even close to our goal. As a goalie, I had hardly anything to do. So I would stand there and shout out loud to inspire my players and the gallery. I thought everyone loved me for that. I aspired to become the captain of my team. So one day, I went up to my coach and said, "Coach, for the next match, can I captain the team?" He smiled sarcastically at me and said, "Ramesh, you think we are winning matches because you stand there at the goal line and yell? We have a strong team. And you, I can replace you any minute and we will still win matches. Stop dreaming about becoming the captain and try to keep your place as a goalkeeper." I was shamed and shattered. That day, I quit my team. Contest chair, friends and fellow Toastmasters, have you ever been humiliated just because you had a bigger dream? How did you react? Just accepted it and walked away like I did? Or did you have the courage to channel that strong emotional power of insults to propel your inner strengths? At the age of 3, my daughter Pavitra suffered from a pneumonia patch. We had to give her nebulizers and steroids. For a long time, she put on abnormal weight. At school, she became a subject for fun and mockery. Every day, she would come home weeping and sore. When she was in class 7, she was still quite overweight. One day, she came to me and said, Papa, I want to take part in the school's athletic meet and I want to run in the 800 meters race. My heart skipped a beat, for I knew she couldn't. And I did not want her to become a laughing stock. I said, Pavitra, darling, I love you, but do you know? Yes, Papa, I know. I know I have to lose a lot of weight. And I know I'm too young to join any gym. But Papa, I also know that I have to prove some of my friends wrong. I was taken aback by that resolve, by that fire in her eyes. Surely she was not getting it from a loser like me. Perhaps her mother. I bought her a treadmill at home and she started practice. Athletic meet was scheduled for 3 months later. Every day, Pavitra would wake up early in the morning and jog on the treadmill till her small feet hurt. She gave up on all her favorite foods, and within 2 months, she lost 5 kgs. Yes, friends, for me, she was a perfect 10. And on the day of the athletic meet, she ran as if she was possessed. She came second in her race, carrying the cup high above her head. She went straight to her classmates and said, "Thank you for laughing at me every day. Thank you for all your insults. But for you, I could not have achieved this." I stood there, admiring my daughter, who had taught me how not to give in to insults and how not to give up. My wife was looking at all this and smiling from a distance, and she came closer. So I said, "Thanks, dear, but I think our daughter deserves all the praise. She has achieved it." She said, "I know. My daughter has proven what she can do. Now it's your time. Treadmill is all yours." Friends, there will always be those who will try to humiliate and intimidate us. But if we quiver under their insults, we will be allowing them to take control of our lives. Our dreams will just stay dreams. They'll never see the light of day. I wanted to have my own business, but there were surrounding me people who said, "Ramesh, you don't have it in you, you just can't do it." Especially my boss. So 6 years ago, I mustered all my courage and went to him with my resignation letter. So what do you want to do? "Sir, I want to start my own business." Really? Ramesh, I don't know from where you get such ideas. You think you are indispensable? You are a marketing genius? Don't go beyond your limits. Especially when you don't know anything about it. He lashed me with his insults. He tried his best. But this time, for the first time, I stood for my dreams and for myself. I said, "Sir, maybe you're right. Maybe I do not know anything about business, but I will. And thank you for making me realize it." Leaving my resignation on his table, I walked away. Friends, it felt good not to shudder, but to stand my ground. It felt good to convert those words of humiliation into a powerful propeller. And it really felt good to start and create a humble enterprise of my own. Today, I am living my dream. How about you? Do you have dreams that you have not been able to achieve because someone else believes you cannot? Friends, there will always be words of insult, acts of hatred, and signs of intimidation coming towards you. Let's not allow them to pull us down. Let's use them instead. as a propeller to our growth. Let's use them as a fuel to propel our success. Contest chair.
1 minute silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Contestant number 2, Toastmaster Abhishek Kokate. Can you see the timer?
Yes, ma'am. I can see the timer.
Both the timers? Timer 1 and timer 2?
Yes. Timer 1 and timer 2. Thank you.
Is this your speaking position?
Yes, Toastmaster, this is my speaking position.
To check your audio video, please repeat this sentence. Am I audible? Am I visible?
Am I audible? Am I visible?
Yes, you are. Thank you. Contestant number 2, Toastmaster.
Vijay, we can see him in two devices. So can we have the Zoom master only have one spotlighted?
Master, could you please assist?
Yeah.
Only one device is spotlighted.
Yeah.
I request the speaker to disconnect the audio from other device so that no echo will be there. Disconnect the audio, not.
There is no audio in my second device. There's nothing.
Okay.
Can you once again repeat this sentence? Am I audible? Am I visible?
Am I audible? I am visible.
Yes, you are. Thank you. Contestant number 2, Toastmaster Abhishek Kokate. Mend it. Mend it. Contestant number 2, Toastmaster Abhishek Kokate.
What would you do if you have a broken item like this at your home? Would you fix it or would you discard it? What would you do in your broken relationships? Can you afford to throw them away? Think about it. Madam Contest Chair, Toastmaster judges and my dear guests, good evening. Me and Naina were inseparable twins. I still remember our first day at school. Naina was holding her father's hand and I was holding Naina's hand. From there, we have been together always. We were together in school, we were together in college, and we were together in life. Naina always had my back. I would pick up fights in school. Naina would fight for me. I would create problems in school. Naina would owe them up for me. Naina always had my back. Each time and every time. I fell in love with a girl who couldn't understand our language at all. So there was a communication gap between her family and my family. I was fed up. I just wanted to throw in a towel. I called in Naina. Naina jumped in and fixed it. Naina always had my back each time and every time. On my marriage day, she was playing all the roles together. She was so busy that she almost missed my marriage ritual. Naina always had my back, each time and every time. A few years ago, I moved to Muscat for purpose of job. I promised to stay in touch with Naina, but I got busier and busier. Days turned into weeks, no conversation. Weeks turned into months, no conversation. And months turned into years, no conversation. We were losing the track. I got promoted, so I decided to call Naina. Naina, my calls were not getting through. My WhatsApp messages were not getting through. What's wrong? I realized Naina has blocked me on social media. Is that the way? Is that what she should do? If I didn't call her, can she not call me? She has my number, right? I know. I told you so many things that she did for me. But I also stood out for her. Her parents wanted to get her married off at an early age. I stopped her. I stood out for her each time and every time. This is what you get when you stand for people. She has got such a big ego that she blocked me? Fine. Fine. I wrote a very nasty Facebook post and posted on her wall. So be it. I blocked her. I even deleted her number. Done and dusted. As they say, out of sight is out of mind. Over. I forgot about her. Last year, we came to Mumbai. I took out my wife to show all the childhood places. We went to school. And Naina was there in the story. We went to the college canteen. Naina was there in the story. We went to the hangout places. Naina was there. Naina was everywhere. My wife came to me and asked, Abhishek, is everything okay between you and Naina? I told her the reality. Nothing is okay. She blocked me and I blocked her too. She said, Abhishek, do you know why she blocked you? Did you bother to find it out? I said, why should I? Why should I? Naina never behaved in that way, Abhishek. Something must be wrong. Why don't you find out? Give it a time and find it out. I thought, okay, must be true. The very next day, me and my wife showed up at Naina's apartment. Knock, knock. Naina's father opened the door and he gave me, Abhishek, where have you been? I didn't have any courage to talk to him, so I went outside and sat on the sofa. We were trying to talk to each other. Suddenly, Naina opened the door and rushed towards me, just like water. She grabbed my arm and started to cry, wail. When she started to cry, I realized Naina has changed so much. Her hairs have gone away. She was looking 10 years elder in age. What happened to Naina? She has reduced to bones, nothing, lifeless. What's wrong? I looked at her father. Her father looked at me and said, depression. Naina has been suffering with depression, Abhishek, for information. And you were not even there for her. Is this the way you treat your friend? And I saw your nasty post on the Facebook that you wrote for her. Shameful. You know her from school. Very shameful. He's right. I agree. That's a very shameful act. But I decided to mend it this time. For the next many days, I showed up at her place. We took her out to school. She could remember. We could took her to college canteen. She still remembers. And even to the hangout places. Naina is able to recall. Wow, I'm happy. Naina is recovering slowly and steadily. And I'm happy about it. Now I can proudly say, I am having Naina's back. This time and every time. Toastmasters. In Japan, whenever an object is broken, they mend it with the golden glue. They believe the broken object, when fixed, looks more beautiful and stronger than ever. So let's reach out into our pockets, remove a little bit of kindness, a little bit of peace, a little bit of empathy, lot of understanding, and good amount of time. All mixed together, and boom, you'll get that golden glue. Let's apply this golden glue in all our lives and relationships. Whoever has blocked you, stopped you, ignored you, That is the reason you need to reach out to them. They need you now than ever. Toastmasters, let's mend it before it's too late. Let's mend it today. Let's mend it now. Let's mend it. Madam Contest Chair.
1 minute silence for the judges to mark the ballots. Contestant number 3, Toastmaster Kishore Muktinu Talapati. Can you see the timer?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Both timer 1 and timer 2?
Yes, both of them. Yes.
Is this your speaking position?
Yes, this is.
To check audio video, please repeat this sentence. Am I audible? Am I visible?
Am I audible? Am I visible?
Yes, you are. Thank you. Contestant number 3, Toastmaster Kishore Muktinu Talapati, Mr. Chari's house. Mr. Chari's house. Contestant number 3, Toastmaster Kishore Muktinu Talapati.
I was facing that final delivery of that cricket match. My side needed 5 runs to win. John was the fastest bowler I had ever faced. There were several eyes looking at me in anticipation. And 2 of those belonged to Khan, the captain of my side. Khan faced John several times in the past, and based on his experience, he was suggesting that John will likely bowl to my right. After all, stakes were high. John delivered the ball, and defying every single expectation, it came to my left. And I, with all my might, lifted the ball off the ground. And there it was, up high in the air in a fraction of a second, went past the fielders, cleared the boundary, and landed. Yes, it was a sixer, and we won. My team came running towards me to lift me on their shoulders for getting this win for them. There was a celebratory mood all over. And amidst all that celebration, a fear took over me. I just realized where the ball landed. That was Mr. Chari's house. Madam Contest Chair, my fellow Toastmasters and guests. When I was a child, thanks to my father's job, my family moved to a new town every 2 years. When I was about 8, we moved to a small coastal town in the south of India. Thanks to my cricketing skills, I managed to attract many friends in a very short span of time. In fact, I very soon became the most celebrated champion of street cricket in the area I lived. My fellow champions and I usually played cricket in an empty plot surrounded by many houses. And one of those was Mr. Chari's. For all kids, Mr. Chari was scary. He was the headmaster of the only upper school in that town. Though I never met him in person, I heard from my friends that Mr. Chari was famous for the punishments he gave to his students. For example, he would make them stand on one leg in the school hallway. He would make them run under the hot sun with an encyclopedia book on their head. And I heard his favorite punishment was caning. Now, that little coastal town needed to fear only two things. One, a hurricane, and second, Mr. Chari's cane. My friends feared that at some point they'll have to enter the upper school and therefore get exposed to Mr. Chari eventually. But I was confident that my father will move me to a new town before then. So you see very little chance that I'll ever have to deal with Mr. Scary. But on that day, I hit that monstrous sixer and got that glorious victory for my team. My confidence faded. You see, the golden rule of street cricket is he who hits it gets it. Meaning the batsman who hits the ball into one of the surrounding houses will also go fetch it. Now this meant I needed to go into Mr. Chari's house to fetch the cricket ball. Not knowing what to do, I prepared for the mission. Hello, neighbor. With the help of my friends, I climbed the compound wall of Chari's. On the other side, I landed in the garden. I checked there thoroughly. There was no visual of the object. Then I looked at the long veranda, tiptoed from one end to the other. And at the fag end, I saw a wooden planter's reclining chair. And next to it was a small crafted wooden table stool. And on top of that, I got the first visual of my object. From there, my mission was simple. Pick up the ball, run back into the garden, and jump that wall. But as I picked the ball from the side table, an unnerving question struck me. How did this ball land on that table? Perhaps Mr. Chari was already there. My heart started to pound, yet I continued my mission. I ran through the veranda. When I was just about to get into the garden, I heard a voice from behind. Who is that? My heart skipped a beat. At that point, I was almost sure that I was caught by Mr. Chari. Not knowing what to do, I turned around to see the monstrous figure of Mr. Chari right behind me. Mr. Chari was a tall, stout man with a cold face, sharp eyes, and a large mustache. I gathered all my courage and said, I just came to collect my cricket ball. And as Mr. Chari approached towards me, I started contemplating what likely punishment I will receive. Ear twisting, slapping, or even worse, his favorite, caning. Whatever it was, I prepared myself for the worst and stopped making an eye contact with him. And then the most astounding thing happened. Mr. Chari came towards me. He laid his arm around my shoulders and said, I know you're feared. That's okay. But if you see, things may not be as fearful as you think. The word fear is an acronym for false expectations appearing real. I was pleasantly surprised. I looked into his eyes and smiled, and he smiled back at me. And then Mr. Chari showed me a way out of his house, this time through the front door. And as I walked out, Mr. Chari in a very casual tone said, I think you need to work on your leg side strokes a bit. It turns out that Mr. Chari is a cricket enthusiast himself, and he has been watching my play. A lot more in common between a young boy and an old man than you might think. As I walked out of Mr. Chari's house, a fear of unknown had left me. Ladies and gentlemen, what's stopping you from exploring? Are you suffering a fear of unknown? It is said to live our life to the fullest and to unleash our full potential, we must be fearless and willing to explore. Remember, even during the pandemic, it is somebody's willingness to explore and innovate that has given us those life-saving drugs and vaccines. As for our frontline healthcare workers, they had to confront the fear of unknown every single day before rising up to the occasion and saving countless lives. Next time a fear stops you from exploring, remember the words of Mr. Chari. What is that he said? If you see, things may not be as fearful as you think. And the word fear, F-E-A-R, could indeed stand for false expectations appearing real. And by the by, don't forget that young boy who ventured into Mr. Mr. Chari's house. Back to you, contest chair.
A minute's silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Contestant number 4, Toastmaster Ilam Parathi Selvarasu. Zoom master? Yes. Okay. Contestant number 4, Toastmaster Ilam Parathi Selvarasu. Can you see the timer?
Yes, I can.
Both the timers?
Yes, I can.
Is this your speaking position?
Yes, it is.
To check your audio video, please repeat this sentence. Am I audible? Am I visible?
Am I audible? Am I visible?
Zoom master, I think there's a slight echo. Could
Yes,
that be?
Vijay, there seems to be an echo.
Yeah.
Contestant, do you have another device which has audio on?
No, the audio is off.
The audio is off?
Yeah.
Instead of
Okay, then please.
the second device, contestant,
No.
instead of muting the second
Can you hear
device,
me? Is there any audio now?
CC, instead of muting the device, you can ask
Is there
to
any echo?
disconnect
it
audio
okay?
of the second device.
Can you disconnect the audio of the second device? Toastmaster Ilam Parathi? Can
No,
you disconnect the audio from the second device?
No, I did.
You did it?
Yes, the audio has been disconnected.
Okay. Can you repeat this sentence again? Am I audible? Am I visible?
Am I audible?
Yes,
Am I
you're
visible?
fine. You're absolutely fine now. Don't worry. You're doing good. Yeah, so relax. Contestant number 4, Toastmaster Ilam Parathi Selvarasu. No, not the size of the dog. No, not the size of the dog. Contestant number 4, Toastmaster Ilam Parathi Selvarasu.
Contest chair and fellow Toastmasters. It was the summer of 1999. I was in the college NCC training camp, and our drill master was talking to us. Cadets, tomorrow, our commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel A.E. Charles, is going to join us. We want a volunteer cadet who would march on stage and give away the bouquet. Who is ready? Yes, sir, I said. He looked at me. Who else is ready? What? That very evening, I went and talked to him. Sir, it was I who raised my hand first. Then why did you call him? What for? He said, listen, Bharati. First of all, you are too thin. Not now, back then. And you know what? We want someone fair. Fair? What? That very statement enraged me. Every cell in my body was angry. Am I turned out for the color of my skin? Am I going to take it lying down? No way! No way! I have decided that I will prove my word to this man before the camp ends. Soon, a great opportunity came my way. The commanding officer wanted to see all the best cadet aspirants. Cadets, 2 days from now, we will have June 5th. I am sure you all know the importance of June 5th, don't you? The awkward silence was broken by one of the girl cadets. Sir, I think June 5th is World Environment Day. That's right. June 5th is World Environment Day, and I want all the best cadet aspirants to deliver a speech. Remember, I'm going to call all the cadets, the local press, and the officers. Brace yourselves, said he, and left. Many shied away because there were only 2 days. But I was a man on mission. For the next 2 days and nights, I prepared as though my life depended on it. Some of my friends even choked. Man, huh? You are burning some midnight oil, huh? What's up? I don't know why they couldn't see the burning rage in my heart. Then came the 5th of June. The hall was getting filled. The cadets, the local press, and finally, the officers. If you were sitting in the front row, you could literally hear my heartbeat. It was racing. Then it was my time to speak. As I was walking, I could see the drill master in the corner with folded arms looking at me. I don't know what came over me. I was the man possessed. Words gushed forth and gestures took care of themselves. When I finished my speech, everyone and my officer, that was a smile of approval. Now I looked my drill master in the eye as if to tell him, sir, see now. And you know what? I'm still black. That very evening, we were all called to the commanding officer's room. Cadets, I think you have all done well, but Paradhi has done better. Then he said something very significant. It is so significant that it still sticks in my mind. I am sure you will also find it extremely insightful. It is not the size of the dog. It is not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog that counts. And I saw that fighting spirit in Cadet Paradhi. So I am going to nominate him as the best cadet. You know how it felt? Yay! Fellow Toastmasters, many a time it is the very same people who push us down are the ones who push us forward. Without them, there is no fight. The fight that matters. Not the size, not the color, but the fight. Back to you, contest chair.
A minute's silence. Judges to mark their ballots. Contestant number 5, Toastmaster Surekha Suresh. Can you see the timer?
Yes, I can.
Both the timers?
Yes,
Okay. Is this your speaking position?
yes, it is.
To check your audio video, please repeat this sentence. Am I audible? Am I visible?
Am I audible? Am I visible?
Yes, you are. Thank you so much. Contestant number 5, Toastmaster Surekha Suresh. Your Honor. Your Honor, contestant number 5, Toastmaster Surekha Suresh.
Ever heard of a celebrity who can't buy a bag? Well, let me tell you about one. This is a story of Oprah Winfrey, the Black TV show host with significant wealth, fame, and success. So Oprah was in Italy a couple of years ago with a bunch of her friends, and they decided to go shopping. So they walked into this beautiful Louis Vuitton store where one of her friends saw a very cute little Louis Vuitton bag, and she said, I'd like to have this bag. So Oprah said, okay. And she went to the sales guy and said, we'd like to buy this bag. The guy said, no, madam. This bag cannot be sold. She said, why? But it's right there. Why can't I have it? No, 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 madam. It's impossible, it's impossible. This bag simply cannot be sold. This bag is only for the Italian people. Please leave. The bag is only for the Italian people? What kind of bull was that? Oprah and her friends were sort of awkwardly looking at each other like, did you just hear what this guy said? Finally, she asked their tour guide, Angelo, who was also Italian. And she said, could you please explain to this guy that we'd really like to buy this bag? So now Angelo and the sales guy go off into the back of the store, where Angelo tells him that this was Oprah Winfrey, a huge celebrity who even had her own TV show. All of a sudden, the sales guy now comes out and says, Madame, you may now have this bag with pleasure. Oprah was judged that day. For what? The color of her skin? Have you ever been judged? Have you ever judged someone? The year 2016. I had just graduated with a master's degree and I got 24 job interviews lined up. And guess what? All of them rejected me. On my 25th try, I finally got a job at a big company in Bangalore, India. So I walked into the office on my first day, very excited. I met with the team and I got introduced to everyone. One guy then asks me, hey, where are you from? I said, well, originally I'm from Chennai, India, but I grew up outside of India for most of my life. The team immediately got excited, as most of them were from Chennai as well. One girl then asked me, Tamil pesuveenga? Which means, do you speak Tamil? I said, no, unfortunately, I don't speak it. I understand a little bit of it though, but I don't really speak very well. Oh, how come? Isn't that your mother tongue? How do you not know your own mother tongue? This kept happening over the next few months whenever I met anyone new from the team. One day in a team meeting, I just broke down. What has Tamil got to do with the work? It wasn't even a job requirement. Why am I constantly being harassed because of this? I was judged. For what? Not knowing a language? Have you ever been judged? Have you ever judged someone? Now at the office, I got to meet a lot of interesting new people. So I noticed this one guy in particular, Chandru, was very intense and serious about his work. He was always the first one to reach the office and the last one to leave. So many would joke that it was because he wasn't married that he was always at the office. Now one day, I found out that he in fact had been married, but just for one day. I started laughing. I said, what? Who gets married for just one day? Later that day, while taking a walk after lunch, he told me that the day he got married, his wife told him that she actually liked somebody else, but she didn't have the courage to tell her parents. They separated the next day and got divorced later. He said he spent all his time at the office in order to stay occupied because this incident had scarred him. I had judged him. For what? An unsuccessful marriage? Like I'm some big expert on marriage? I haven't even had a boyfriend yet. Have you ever been judged? Have you ever judged someone? Oprah was judged. I was judged. And I judged too. Have we ever thought about what our judgment actually does to somebody? How did you feel when you were judged for the color of your skin, your broken English, your marriage, or maybe for just being a little overly healthy? It doesn't matter if you are Surekha, Chandru, or Oprah. You are going to get judged, and you are going to judge someone. But who made you and I as judge? So fellow Toastmasters and your honors, the next time you come across a situation where you're inclined to judge, just take a deep breath. Pause. Perhaps what that person needs is just a hug or some compassionate listening. Hey, maybe even a cappuccino with a friend would do. I heard this line in a TV show once. Never judge a man until you walk a mile in his shoes. Now that said, I know my speech is going to be judged, but just for today, that's okay. Madam Contest Chair.
A minute's silence for the judges to mark their ballots. May I request Toastmaster Surekha Suresh to put on her video? We need a picture, please. Contestant number 6, Toastmaster Hashim Halim. Can you see the timers?
Yes, I can see timer 2 and timer 1.
Is this your speaking position?
Yes, this is my position.
To check your audio video, please repeat this sentence. Am I audible? Am I visible?
Am I audible? Am I visible?
Yes, you are. Thank you. Contestant number 6, Toastmaster Hashim Halim. The box. The box. Contestant number 6, Toastmaster Hashim Halim.
When I was a kid, I loved hiding in a big cardboard box. As long as I was in my box, I was free from worries, free from problems, free from my parents, especially on the day I got my report card. It's not my fault. My answers were right. The questions were wrong. Respected contest master, esteemed judges, in the 6th grade, it all changed. You see, my parents made me join the drama team. Me performing to an audience. I couldn't even speak to the girls in my class. All I could think was, I can't do this. Now, the drama coach at our school was Thakur sir, a short, stout, stocky man with a big white beard. He looked like Papa Smurf. He gave me a monologue and said, read it out loud. I took one look. That script was longer than my history textbook and my biology textbook put together. All I could think was, I can't do this. Seeing my fear, Thakur sir patted me patiently and said, "Break out of your box. Kiddo, there's so much more in you." More in me? Yeah, more fear. For the first scene, I had to wave my hand and say, "Great job, well done." Simple enough. On cue, I waved my hand and said, "Great done, well job." I see you're laughing. Everyone laughed as I broke down in tears. What was I thinking? I can't do this. Just then, a pat on my back. It was my savior, Thakur sir. And he whispered patiently, "You can do this. Break out of your box." I wiped my tears, puffed up my chest, and tried again. And when I delivered my lines, everyone clapped. My eyes lit up like Christmas lights. I could actually do this. The next 3 weeks, I practiced my heart out. I fell, I faltered, but I fought through. And at the annual function, I delivered the longest monologue ever, way longer than all my textbooks put together. Thakur sir was right. There was so much more in me. I was the next Al Pacino of my village. Friends, I used to think that my freedom lies in my box. But I discovered that real freedom lies outside the box. Have you ever let "I can't do this" keep you in the box? I have. 3 years back, amidst the economic downturn, I found myself looking for a job. Applied, no response. Applied, no response. Applied, no response. Again, I felt stuck. After months of misery, I did a small consultancy project for a friend. It was fun and fulfilling. Seeing my glow after all my gloom, my wife said, "Hashim, start your own consultancy business." Whoa, whoa, whoa. Me in a business. It's like a preschooler reading Shakespeare. But who argues with their wife? On that gusto, I started my company and got my first order. It went worse than the scores on my report card. What was I thinking? I can't do this. It felt like my first drama years ago, messing up my lines. I just wanted to cry. Just then, a pat on my back. It was my guardian angel, my wife. She came up, held me close, and said, "You can do it. Try." And try I did, ladies and gentlemen. I fell, I faltered, but I fought through. It's been 3 years now, and my business is doing well. I know Bill Gates, but many gates of opportunity have opened for me, and they will open for you. So what is your box? Maybe you have a brilliant business idea. Break out and try. Maybe you like someone. Break out. Ask them out. Maybe you want to go to Hollywood or Bollywood or any other wood. Break out and act. But at least remember your lines. As the great poet Rumi once said, when you let go of who you are, you become who you were meant to be. Friends, remember, there are opportunities for you. There are good people around you. And as Thakur sir said, there's so much more in you. So kiddos, you can overcome all of life's knocks when you break out of your box. Contest Master.
We shall maintain silence for the judges to mark their ballots and collate the results. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give our precious jewels our contestants who put on such a resplendent show, a huge round of applause. Never mind, it can reverberate even virtually. So here go. Toastmasters and guests, thank you for your support. With that, the International Speech Contest is concluded. And may I now request our vibrant, vivacious Master of Ceremonies, Toastmaster Tulika, to kindly take over the proceedings.
Thank you so much, Contest Chair. So let's loosen up for some time and take a break to recalibrate our life. We need no endless overthinking though. Let us just connect the dots, set the scene, and steam ahead. Let us take an utterly, butterly, delicious break, and let's meet back again at 5:26 p.m. See you. Welcome back after that short and delicious break. I had some coffee and macaroons. What about you? DTAC 2021 is a bilingual speech contest in Arabic and English for humorous evaluation, table topics, and international speech. Now it's time to get back to the session. That had a heart-racing start. I'm sure that will come to a nail-biting finish. To announce the results of the International Speech Contest finals, may I invite our contest chair, Toastmaster Vijaya, to announce the results. Over to you, contest chair.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Tulika. Ladies and gentlemen, did I not promise you a dazzling show this evening? And what a dazzling day it has been. A kaleidoscope showcasing the tremendous talents of the contestants. Each one shone in their own individual style. Now hold your breath, for this is the moment that we all have been waiting for. The opening of the treasure box and the revelation of the crowning jewels. There were no disqualifications due to time. So here goes the results for the District 105 International Speech Contest. All of you, get set, get ready to applaud and cheer for the contestants. Truly deserve all of that. Our third place winner for the District 105 International Speech Contest is Toastmaster Surekha Suresh. Come on. Wherever you are, drum rolls and an applause for Surekha. Congratulations, Toastmaster Surekha. Zoom Master, can we have a picture? Thank you. I can feel the excitement building amongst each one of you. I don't know about you all, but my heart, it's racing. So I'm not going to take too much time, and here goes. Put your hands together for the second place winner for the District 105 International Speech Contest, Toastmaster Ramesh Gopalan. Congratulations, Toastmaster Ramesh.
Thank you.
Can we have a picture, please? Thank you. Can you all feel the palpable anticipation? I think it's, I don't know about, I can feel it. It's almost as thick. I can cut it with the knife. The anticipation for the revelation of the crowning jewel of District 105. Ladies and gentlemen, get the drum rolls going, ring the bells, get ready to party. The first place winner of the District 105 International Speech Contest, the person who will represent District 105 at Region 11. get ready. It is Toastmaster Hashim Halim. Congratulations. Congratulations, Toastmaster Hashim.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now I need a big smile for a picture. Thank you so much. Zoom Master, can we have a group picture with all the 3 winners and the chief judge as well? Toastmaster Surekha, Toastmaster Ramesh, kindly put on your videos. Thank you. Thank you so much, and a hearty congratulations to each one of you. Truly, you all presented your perspectives with such immense elan and style. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, it has been truly a privilege and a great honor to host this segment of DTAC 2021. And with that, I wish you all good evening and hand you back in the very capable hands of our Master of Ceremony, Toastmaster Tulika. Over to you.
Thank you, Contest Chair, for announcing the results. And congratulations to all the speakers. You all are winners. Hey, audience, this is Earth calling, Cloud9. Come back here. We have some more excitement in store for you. Our keynote speaker today is an instructor at Outward Bound Oman and a business development manager. She joined an unguided expedition to ski to the North Pole with a team of 11 women from Europe and Middle East. She just got back from a much longer, logistically challenging, and physically demanding 47-day expedition, crossing Oman in a straight line, which took almost 2 years for her to plan. Our keynote speaker today will be speaking about the resilience through change. As they say, change is the only constant. And I can see our keynote speaker is already here. Let's welcome Anisa Al-Riasi with a round of applause. Anisa, the stage is all yours.
Thank you very much, Tulika, for that amazing introduction. Just checking before I continue, can I be heard fine? And visual, audio, everything is here, I hope. So what an amazing contest. Congratulations to all the winners. Congratulations to everybody who participated, really. It's about the participation and not just the winning. I like to say it's about the journey and not just the final destination. So well done, everybody, for taking part today. And I'd like to thank you for sticking around this long to listen to my story. So resilience, that's the topic of the day. And funny enough, it seems to be the buzzword, I think, these days. Everywhere you hear about resilience, you know, we need to be more resilient to be able to succeed in all walks of life. Resilience is a key skill that is needed. In fact, we hear it so much, especially in my background where I work with Outward Bound. We even have a poster about it at work. Slide Master, would you please show the first poster, the first picture that I have? So this one, it's in our office. Where I work is Outward Bound. Basically what we do is teach people resilience through life experiences in the outdoors. Basically taking people out of their comfort zones, getting them to do something entirely new, something they're not used to, like for me, speaking in public in front of all of you. So this is really resilience, and Outward Bound is all about teaching resilience through experience. Taking people out in the mountains, camping. I work there as an instructor, which I have done for the last 7 years. And just recently, we put this life-size poster up on one of our walls. It says here resilience. This is our key word for really the last 2 years. And it gives you a few of the main elements of resilience, to be able to think creative, learning from failure, overcoming short-term adversities, and so on. And I've always read this day by day, walking past it in the hallway, and but what we do at Outward Bound is give people the opportunity to have that experience. Through experience, do you build resilience? Resilience is like any other muscle, I would say. It is only practice. It's only strengthened through practice. So before Outward Bound, let me Tulika, thank you. You gave me a little bit of an introduction there. But before I go into my more recent expedition, I would like to just show you just a quick video. I was thinking about what to talk about in this 1 hour, resilience being the key topic, me working in the outdoors, teaching resilience, but also living it myself through these expeditions that I do. How in the world would 1 hour be enough for me? It's not. I could write a book on it, quite literally. I was just thinking, and you've inspired me to write this book, so maybe that's next. But we'll try and keep it short. So first, I'll just start with this video, and it will try and showcase the element of resilience in just that North Pole expedition. So please, Slide Master, will you show us the first video?
Any minute now it's going to crack and open beneath you. This is such a dangerous environment. You could hear the ice breaking.
This is the difference between life and death.
My mind wants to keep going, but my body can't keep going.
If anything here moves, we don't stand a chance.
We're going to the North Pole, there's going to be polar bears, it's going to be stupidly cold, there's going to be ice below you, there's no solid ground.
11 women from across Europe and the Arab countries, and we're going to ski the last 100 kilometres to the North Pole.
When we first said that we were going to come and do some polar training in the desert of Oman, a lot of people raised their eyebrows. It gets more bizarre by the minute.
I wanted to put together an expedition that brings together women.
This is it!
This trip is not just for me, it's for all the women out there, for them to reach out for their potential.
2 years, this has changed a lot in my life, this expedition.
It's ordinary women doing something absolutely extraordinary.
So I hope you get the picture in about that 2 minutes of condensed work. Basically, that took about years of work, a year of planning, a year of actual physical training, and then when we actually got out there and started the work after the expedition as well, coming back and sharing the stories. It was my first real experience of resilience in the outdoors, and I think an eye-opening one. Not just for myself, but all these women that you saw on screen just now. A lot of these were, moms, marketing experts, with maybe journalists on there, and people from all walks of life, basically. Women of all ages as well. The youngest one on there you saw must have been 23. The oldest one touching her 50s. We actually celebrated her 50th birthday up there in the North Pole. So a very interesting mix of women, ordinary women, but seen to be doing something extraordinary. And basically, this entire thing, what you saw, the minus 40 degrees, the ice cold training, the polar bears, the flare guns, praying in the cold, minus 40 degrees, if I may say so again. All of this was just a stepping stone for me to the real adventure, to the real test of resilience, which is where I would start now the story of Yavago. This was my most recent expedition. And the North Pole really was just, like I said, a stepping stone to be able to give me the experience that I need to be able to put this plan into action. So what is Galago? Galago was a dream. When I first started with Outward Bound about 6 years ago, I've been working with them for 6 years now. And when I started in 2014, I was first asked to go on a training session to Clady Brennan. Now this is like in North Wales, and it is like the Harvard of outdoor schools. Very prominent, very well-known school where they teach mountaineering, climbing, kayaking, etc. So I was sent out there for a couple of weeks, and during those weeks, there was people invited from all over the UK to come and give talks about their experience running expeditions or anything, any adventures. There was this one, Adam Hargreaves. He came in and he spoke about Beeline Britain. This was a project that he just finished from, and it was basically a straight line from one tip of the UK to the other tip, where they had to walk it by foot on expedition. I heard about this in 2014, way before the North Pole. The North Pole was in 2018, as you saw. But I didn't have any experience in it. I had just started with Outward Bound. I still didn't have the experience, didn't know how to lead a group, didn't know about the logistics, planning a massive expedition. But that put a thought in my head that if I am able, if I'm able to grab some experience over the next few years, if I can do some expeditions on my own, leading my own expeditions, even mini expeditions, then maybe I can make this dream come true. So I come back to Oman and I take out the Omani map, one of those that shows all the contours and everything. And I thought, okay, I was to draw a line. How would I do this? Why am I drawing this line, first of all? For me, initially, it was just the thought of an adventure. I want an epic adventure. I've done the North Pole, 10 days, 100 kilometers, minus 40 degrees. But I want to do something, A, in my own country, where I'll be able to discover more, where I'll be able to share it with everybody, but also something that includes all the diverse terrain that I would like to explore. The North Pole, yes, it was exciting. Yes, it was very different, but it was cold. It was only cold. It was expected to be cold every day, and so you can be prepared for that as well. Whereas crossing Oman, maybe some of you don't know Oman. Sorry, I just realized this is an international competition. Okay, so let's draw the map of Oman. Starting from the very north of Oman, it's about, in a straight line, 1,200 kilometers if you were to draw a line. However, this line, if you were to draw from the very northern bit to the very southern bit, it includes the seas, the open oceans. It includes some very rocky terrain on the northern mountain ranges of Oman. Then it includes the salt flats, and these are days and days of salt flats, some of which could even be sinking sand. So very tricky for cars or even us to walk through. After that, we've got dunes, these majestic, some of the biggest dunes in the world is in the Empty Quarter. So we're crossing right through the Empty Quarter, about 600 kilometers of massive sand dunes. We've got some flats again, and these are very strange flats. I'll go into the details of that later. Over the reserves of Jebel Zulhan, which is where maybe you've heard of the Arabian leopards or frankincense, which is how all of that comes from. So massive expedition, basically. I assumed it would take about 50 days to do it once I drew this mental map. But that's all I had. I had the line, got the map. And I've got the what, basically. I know what I want to do. Why? Why do I want to do this? Well, first of all, I said easy why is for the adventure, because I wanted to, go and explore. But that's not enough. It became very obvious, very quick, that for something like this to be successful, a journey as big as this, I needed help. I couldn't possibly do it alone, which meant I needed, straight off the bat, easy sponsors. First thing you need is money. From that money, could you start the marketing for this? Without marketing, would you be able to attract more attention? But why? Why am I even doing this? That's my story, adventure. But I needed a selling point for everybody else to get on board. Why would everybody want to watch Anisa be resilient every day unless there's a story to come out of this? So I started putting down the why. It was, we're approaching then, this is 2018, just when I got back from the North Pole. It was 2 years to go until we hit Oman's 50th anniversary. Our dear His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has been in reign, or had been at the time, for 49 years. And we're hoping to see the 51st through with him. And I thought this would be an excellent way to celebrate, you know, what better way to celebrate the 50 years we have come through as a country, as Oman. We love our Sultan. For those of you that are watching from out of Oman, we have a very close, we see him as father. We call him Baba Qaboos, which means father of Qaboos. So I wanted to make him proud. I wanted to make the people proud. I wanted us to, you know, be resilient, show resilience. We always talk about, you know, resilience is a skill you need, but let's showcase it. Let's show people that yes, an Omani woman can do anything she sets her mind to, and if I can, then anybody can, right? So this is my story. I started forming the why. As soon as I formed the why, which was basically, we want to promote getting young people out there. I work with Outward Bound. It is also my passion to see people involved, to see them unlock their potential. It's amazing the difference you see from a young person coming in on day one to when they've gone through the entire process, camping on their own, being, you know, self-sufficient on their own, building this resilience, this constant fight that they have every day, looking at that mountain, I can't do it, I can't do it, and step by step, they do it. And it's an immense change. So I thought, okay, we need to do this for the country. So we built the why, getting youth inspired, to get them outdoors as well, to discover your own country. Now we're all locked down during Corona. So I started planning this obviously before Corona. This was 2018. Started planning the entire thing, planned out the why, started planning out the logistics of how it could be done. So an immense map like this, as you heard, all the different terrains along the way, the different logistics I would need for each terrain. There's different clothing that I would need, the shoes that I would need is different. The food that I would need to carry is different. Some needs to be self-sufficient, some I could have my support team meet me at the campsite. So, you know, there was a lot of planning that went into it. To make it easier, you know, if you've got we always say in Outward Bound, if you've got a massive elephant to eat, what's the best way to eat an elephant? Of course, bite by bite. Just have one bite at a time. That's how you would eat anything, even an elephant. And so that's how I took over this expedition. I'm not going to think about the entire 47 days, 1,200 plus kilometers. I'm going to think about it as day by day, and then even divide those days into halves. So really, I'm just doing 10 kilometers each time, then 10, then 10. So 30 kilometers a day. Easy, swallowable, I can do it. You know, I'd run a marathon, I can do 30 kilometers a day. Never mind the 1,500, I didn't even start to think. Just give me a breakdown the very first day. So now I had the what? Had the outdoor experience that I needed. I've done the North Pole. I've worked with Outward Bound for 5 years. I started with planning and the logistics. I started forming somewhat of a team, a support team that would help me throughout the 50 days, that would be able to support me in the cars. But now we needed cars. We needed money. We needed, you know, everything to get this from a dream and a plan on a map off into reality. So that means I need people to believe in me now, to be able to make this dream come true. How do I start? Where do I even start? Made the calculations, found out how much it would potentially cost me to run an expedition like this. And before you know it, I was out looking for sponsors. Before I did that, I met a friend, Anthony Taylor, who later became my expedition partner. How we met was a very interesting story, but I'll just brush through that really quickly. She was actually British military, so came to Oman for a Safe City training operation we had a few years ago. And I met her through that because she also, the time when I went to the North Pole, she went to the South Pole as part of an all-female team. So we got together, just chatting and all, and she asked me, what's next for you after the North Pole? I told her about my plan, going through Oman. And she said, wow, well, do you have a partner yet? And I said, no, join me. And she just jumped on it, and there you go. So now I had a partner. And now we had a mission together, but we need, again, to get the finances. how do we go about it? So Nat being British, me being Omani, the first obvious way that we had to use the Anglo-Omani Society. This is our obvious link. The society was our first partner, and this is basically an entity that have in the UK, which basically connects the ties of Oman and UK's rich heritage and culture. And it was also inspired by Beeline Britain, Yalla Go. And so I thought, okay, this seems beautiful, let's go ahead with that. As soon as we got them on board, things started flying in. We had Saatchi, they came on, and these were basically a UK-based marketing company that now came in wanting to work on this expedition as a pro bono. They heard about the expedition, very interested in it, and they said, this has potential to go worldwide. We could cover the youth in the UK and in Oman, and we'll help you do that. But first, to do that, we need to study the youth. What makes them tick? How do we get into their heads? How do we encourage them to look at the outdoors? And so this is what we've come up with. So if we could go into the presentation, please. Second slide, slide master. Sorry, one more slide, the next one. Yes, this is what we basically came up with. Yalla Go, the brand as we know it for the expedition, we created these avatars. These are basically myself and Natalie, but this is a way to inspire the youth, to get them to want to be a part of this. So what they also did was create a virtual game, as you can see over there on the right. Mabahon, basically that's a line that cuts straight through Oman. And for them to follow us virtually and find out, discover places in Oman, the culture changes throughout, languages. And for those of you who don't know Oman, we went through at least 5 languages over there. The terrain, as I was saying, was completely diverse. The food, the national dresses that they wear throughout, it was just changing every kilometer. So this was the idea, how to get the youth interested. This is it. So once we started Yalla Go, now we've got the name, we've got the branding, and we started approaching people in Oman. The first obvious one was the Minister of Sports, Culture and Youth, and His Highness the Hizm. And His Highness, for those of you that are not from Oman, is the son of the newly appointed His Majesty Sultan, Current Sultan of Oman. And so, of course, when he became he heard of this, proposed it to him. He said, I'm very interested. What can I do to help? He said, well, all we need is a quote from you. That's it, just a quote saying that you are a patron of this expedition, the official patron. We got that quote. Can you see the quote? Sorry, it was a very exciting moment for us. The next slide. There it is. We actually wrote that quote ourselves and made sure that my name was down there. Mine and Natalie, Yalla Go, and Issa and Natalie Taylor. We have to have them say this. We wanted to create the hype. We wanted the youth also to be involved. Once we had these in the papers, doors literally opened up for us. Next slide, please. Before you know it, we had companies in the UK reaching out. Kinetic 6 was basically helping us to have this device where they can track us live every 15 minutes. This device pings over satellite. So basically anyone watching us live would be able to see our exact location every 15 minutes where we are. So this was very useful for us, both for followers, but as well as for our own safety and security. We had Al-Maha, who came through with the fuel for the cars. Most important, the cars, our main sponsors of Vancouver. This was an interesting story as well. We're looking out for cars. We heard this new Defenders come out and decided, you know what, we'll approach them. And they came to be an all-terrain car. So let's test it, put it to the test. Here we have an all-terrain expedition. So would you like to put it to the test? They said yes. And we had our support cars, which the support had the food and the water to take us all the way. Very last minute, through a stroke of luck, came the Pakistani embassy in Mohammed Riaz. This is also a personal background on me. My family, yes, I am Omani, my father is Omani, but my mother is Pakistani, originally Pakistani now. But we grew up very much the Pakistani way, and this is food, lifestyle, and all of that. And with a mix of Omani, of course, having lived here. But when the Pakistani ambassador heard that we were going on this expedition, he said, there's no way that I would let these girls go without their bellies being full, you know? So, because I was stressing out at the last minute while we were doing our packing, Natalie decides, you know, she's vegan, by the way. So all she's eating is the peas and the canned beans, and I couldn't do that. I needed the halim, I needed the meat, you know? So bless them, the Pakistani embassy came through last second. And this was basically our sponsors. Outward Bound gave me the massive backup of not only the time off that I needed, some of the equipment that we needed for the expedition as well, but most importantly, the knowledge and the background. Specifically, for example, I'm not a kayaker. The first 100 kilometers was meant to be kayaking, and I had no idea how to kayak, no experience in it. Yes, I've done a few, you know, the open, sit on top kind of kayak, which is not really the kayaks where you were able to flip inside the water and turn back around again. I'll show you a picture of the kayak soon. But basically, I had no experience, and our general manager of Outward Bound, Mark Evans, he's kayaked the entire coastline. So very convenient for me and very inspirational, but he talked me through that. So they were helpful in so many other ways. So now we had the who, the what, the why, and the entire backup of, as you can see, the community in both Oman and the UK. So it was ready, go time now, except everything changed. This still happens when you plan for such things. This, like I said, plan started 2 years ago. And it was early last year when our Sultan, His Majesty, Bayatullah, passed away. A very sad time for us. It took me back, both personally, but also for the expedition. Not knowing what is our direction anymore. My story from the entire get-go was for His Majesty, for Oman, for the country. How can I celebrate this now that he's gone? This was the first major obstacle. And I decided then that this is possibly even, I hate to say it, but the best time to be doing something like this, because his passing away, the uncertainty in the country, the uncertainty not only because of that, but also because of Corona now. You know, people are all not traveling, losing jobs. There's so many cases where we just want to give up on a day-to-day. It's become a fight. So what is the skill that now needs to be resonated more than ever? Resilience. So I thought I'm going to go ahead with this now more than ever, actually. And everything that I walk, every kilometer that I walk, I'm going to be thinking of how resilience is important for our country and for our people and for the world, really. Right now, more than ever. And so, story evolved, it became a topic. This is all about resilience and to show that when things change, when plans change, we find a way through. Corona, as you can see, can you please go back to slide 1, which was the map? Slide master, we just go to slide 1. I just want to show you, even before this, yes. So the very top of the map, you could see we kayak through the waters, the first 100 kilometers. It's a very tiny map, although the country is very large. But the bits just after the water, there's a few 100 kilometers of the UAE cutting through Fujairah. So there's an Omani enclave over there that's in the UAE, is another part of Oman, and then so on. So we wanted to cut right through that. Now with Corona, that plan has changed as well. In fact, Natalie, my partner, how do I get her to Oman when there's a complete lockdown? So everything changed very last moment, and we just had to pull strings and look for a way across. So I wrote to our royal patron and said, look, there's one more favor you can do for me, get Natalie through. And so he did, he helped with the visa, and off we were. On the 16th of November, after 6 years of dreaming and 2 years of planning, we finally set off. It was so surreal. We got kayaks. So another support that we had, let me just go back, sorry, to this. Major support that we have throughout this expedition, one of our partners was the Ministry of Defense. Once our royal patron got involved, We can close the slide now. Once our Royal Patron got involved, the Ministry of Defence heard that this expedition is going through all of Oman. We knew we put it out in posters and everything. And then they said, well, you need help with this. You can't possibly go through all of Oman without some sort of assistance on it. And so I said, okay, let's, they suggested a meeting. And I said, okay, let's do it. So I was asked to this meeting, it was Monday morning, to the Joint Operations. I have no idea what this is, Joint Operations, Minister under the Ministry. Get in there, wear my brightest suit, looking all presentable, ready for this, you know, okay, got into the meeting room, opened the door, and in front of me, at least 20, 25 gentlemen, all in their uniforms. You've got the Navy, you've got the Air Force, you've got the military, all with their stars and their crowns and their badges. It was intimidating, to say the least. They were very friendly. They asked me to sit down, thanked me for being here, for even taking this expedition across and doing something, I guess. And then they said, let's dive into the details now. What can we do to help you? And so we did. I showed them the map. We went through every single kilometer. I mean, like I said, I've had years to do this planning. So here Google Earth was very useful for me. And I've been through literally every single kilometer trying to draw a route. But the objective is that I had to do it in a straight line. I can't go off this line. If I was to veer off this line for more than 5 kilometers, that tracker that I told you, Kinetic 6, is going to track me down and people will know I'm not walking in a straight line. Or most of all, I would know I'm not walking in a straight line. So that means to walk in a straight line, we would need a lot of support. For some reason, maybe I'm stuck in the middle of a mountain and can't get down. That's where I would need maybe a helicopter's, you know, broken bones or whatever, a helicopter rescue to come through. What about the seas in the north of Oman, those 100 kilometers? I can't possibly be kayaking with all my food and water that I need. Being out in the sea for 6 hours a day, we were kayaking about 23 kilometers to 25 kilometers a day. That's about 8 to 10 hours of work. I can't possibly carry all that food and water and camping equipment with us, so we needed support. And so this is where the Navy came in. We had a massive warship, dedicated just for us on the 6 days in the water up in Musenda. And so the plan was we were to kayak. Can we show some of the photos, please? And there's the first one of us stretching. We'd wake up early in the morning. That's it. So the plan was 6 a.m. in the morning. As the sun is rising, get down there. Day one, let me start with day one. Get out at 6 in the morning and start kayaking. Like I said, the plan was 8 to 10 hours a day. If we delay any of that, that means the plan with the military is also delayed for the rest of the journey. So I have to be very careful on not delaying us at any one leg. So where did we need military support? Navy in leg 1. Leg 2, that's the Fujairah part that we can't do anymore, the part of UAE. We needed a helicopter drop off. So that means we can't delay the kayaks. We're under time pressure as well throughout this, just to add to the dilemma. So anyway, day one, we set off, as you can see, and the kayaks. Can we show the photo of the kayak, please? The next one. Just to get into perspective, how much storage space we had with us. So there it is. You can see I've just got some safety ropes on the front of my kayak. My body is tucked underneath, and I've got a skirt around to make sure no water goes in, because the water gets really wavy sometimes and really sloshy. So some days it was at least a meter along the waves, and we had to make sure that we don't let any water. And if we do, there's a way to clear it out. Anyway, this is how we had to go for about 10 hours a day. Day one, we set off. Remember, this is my first real experience kayaking. We set off day one, and before you know it, we see Nat we're going in the same direction. First of all, we're setting off, we're both kayaking in the same direction. I see Nat has gone at least a kilometer away. She's back. You slowly see that happening, and we're trying to keep together, but before you know it, she's gone. Apparently, and we keep trying to get back together. There's no way. Apparently, there was a really strong current on that very first day that swept her completely away. We decided to come back into the ship, take a break for a couple of hours, get back out. Now here we're working really closely with the Navy as well. We have to look at currents, we have to look at tide charts, we have to look at the wind, for example, the wave chart, and so on. Study all of this every few hours and then decide when is the best time to go out. So we take the next opportunity. Once a little bit of the storm settles down, we get back out into the water. This part that we have to do, and remember this is day one only, okay? We already had a few issues. This part that we have to do is potentially the toughest part of the kayaking. So up in Cape Hormuz, where we were starting the Strait of Hormuz, there's two rocks, which basically divide the two oceans, okay? So the part of the ocean that goes all the way to the UAE and into the Strait and the rest of the Indian Ocean. This is the point where, So basically both oceans meeting, and what you get in between, a lot of current. So strong that I was paddling as hard as I could, and so was Nat next to me when we came out of our break and started paddling again. Really fast, but we could see, to put it into context, my speed of kayaking is 6 kilometers an hour. So I have the GPS with me, and I can see how fast I'm kayaking. So I see 6 kilometers an hour before, all right, kayaking, and before you know it, I'm going 10 kilometers an hour. How's it possible? And I'm going so fast, I'm not even trying that hard anymore. I look at the mountains around me, and all of a sudden, the mountains are going in that direction, which means I am going backwards. So there was this tide that picked us so fast and so hard, and just threw us all the way, almost out of our line, our range of line. This is called Fak el Asad, which means the lion's mouth. Traditionally, the sailors up north know what it was the hardest point of the meeting of two waters. So we decided to come out and take a break. I'm just sharing you these stories because these are stories of resilience throughout. It started from day one. Day one, also when we got back after all of this happened, got back into the Navy ship, and we decided to, let's debrief, let's see what went wrong there. How can we do it better? And it was from the very beginning, there was a sort of very clear difference in mindsets of both of us. Myself coming from a background of working in the outdoors, but with young people, being a lot more patient and enjoying the moment sort of thing. Whereas Natalie came from a military background, a bit more, it's got to be on time. This is what we have to do. This is how many kilometers we have, for example, set for the day. So we need to do it. This is our mission. She kept saying mission. And so it was very interesting. From day one, we understood that we've got very different mindsets about this entire expedition. And so I suppose this is another story of resilience to show how we had to come together and sort of work it out that yes, you're seeing it as a mission. Yes, I'm seeing it as a let's go explore and have fun. But let's meet together to make this come true. And so very quickly, we started to work a lot better together, covered the kilometers every day that was necessary. Before we know it, we're in Dibba. Dibba is the northern part of Oman, where we were to take the helicopter and continue the rest of the expedition. Before we get to Dibba, now this is day on day on day, as things get better between Nat and I, and we're starting to kayak, cover the distance. Day one, we missed a few kilometers, so we had to cover that distance faster. We can kayak more than 25 kilometers. Now we're doing about 30 kilometers a day. My hands start to blister. And blister so bad. It was all of the pressure points. You could still see some of the blisters remains. I think we've got some photos as well. I've kept the crew in the ship very busy throughout this entire period, where they had to pop my blisters for me. So bless them, they did a good job with that. But here you can see this was a prime example of resilience. From day two, pretty much, I was already have the thought of what brought me here? Why am I doing this to myself? And then we get to leg two. So leg two, as I said, Fajr was cancelled, and so we had to take the helicopter onto the start of the wadis. Now these wadis, we have planned. I've got a dear friend of mine, Dr. Khalid, who is also an adventurer over here in Oman. He loves canyoning. He's wrote a few books on that. And so he wanted to join me for the mountain bits. And he studied Google Earth for months before that and drew the map through it as well. Like, yes, we have to go in a straight line, but which exact gully do we take? Which wadi? Where do we drop down? How much rope do we need? What equipment do we need? And so on. Made all those preparations and we're off. In the mountain on day 2, first day was pretty straightforward through the wadi. Second day, we get through this fork in the wadi, and we're not sure. My compass is pointing one way. Natalie and Dr. Khalid think we need to go another way. Either way, I just follow. Okay, maybe I started doubting myself. These are also experienced outdoor, experts, so just, let's give them the chance as well. So followed. Before we know it, we took a wrong turn a few hours ago. It was already, we had made a wrong turn. My GPS now shows that the campsite is only 1 kilometer away. For us, 1 kilometer is easily, even the toughest terrain, we could do it in what, 20 minutes, half an hour tops. This 1 kilometer took us a whole 2 days to get to. So this 1 kilometer, every time we come up a mountain, it was a range of mountains that we were on, and on the other side was the campsite. To get up this mountain, you have to get up wadis, streams, basically, dry riverbeds to get up the mountain. Otherwise, the rocks in Buraymi in the north is called ophiolites, and these rocks, they just break so easily. They're very, very brittle. And so even wind, for example, strong winds could break the rocks off, just to put things in context. Climbing that is just very, very precarious. We get to the 1 kilometer point just before sunset, because we took the wrong turn. It was supposed to be hours before. Just before sunset, we got there. And we realized it's getting too dark for us to be able to find a way down. We're calling our support crew on the other end. Yes, is there a way down? Is there anything visible? No, it looks too treacherous. Don't do it, don't do it. We get back down. We don't have the reserves for food and water. So we decide we had a survival shelter. It's basically like a sleeping bag, but made out of aluminum foil. And use that. I had some dried up beef jerky left, had that for dinner, and slept on the rocks, basically. Most uncomfortable night of my life, but one of the most beautiful nights. And the most basic, simple, all you need is your basic survival. Warmth, shelter, food. So we found a place in the wadi away from the wind and settled down there for the night. Next day, got on through. So Buraymi itself, those 6 days in Buraymi, was a lot of going through the mountains, finding the best way through, up and down some really treacherous hills. In fact, the best way to do this, I think we've got a video next. Would you be able to show that, please, Slide Master? As we're running through that, and keep my audio on. This is him, Dr. Khalid. We're setting off over the mountains now. There's a bit of a lag, but it's okay. So along the wadis, we find caves, we go in and explore. As you can see, our backpacks are very light. And we're only the backpacks enough for the food and water for that day. We didn't expect to overnight until we came to this area over here. This is leading into the wadi where we couldn't find a way through the other side. We find ropes and everything. And finally, the next day, this is us at our way at the bottom. This is the view. While we're stuck on top, you can see our team is looking for us on the tracker and looking for a way to find us. This is me embracing my sister, finally, after making it down the other day. We're celebrating with the entire team. So that was basically leg 2. Leg 2 was also an amazing part for us because we had the Pakistani ambassador visit. There was a youth group in Buraymi. They made a massive sort of very Omani traditional jalsa, sit-down thing where they were playing the drums and a little folk music and sharing stories, and they came to hear all about it. So this helped a lot for the story of resilience. I think one of them on the poster, it showed that the support that you get from the people around you plays a key part. For me, it played a massive part. Knowing that all of those sponsors and everybody who believed my story before supporting, but not only them, now it's spread through the Oman and the UK, and Omanis and people from all over. I mean, in Dibba, there were ladies who came by to see us off. In Buraymi, it happened in the middle of the desert. the army support that would come to fill us up with fuel and water throughout the desert as we're going through. There are no fuel stations there. So they were supporting us. They came through with entire slaughters of goats and rice. And, you know, I barely lost 500 kilograms through this entire expedition, which is, I think, quite an accomplishment. So getting on to leg 3. This is where the excitement starts for the cars. Now it's the deserts, the plain dunes and the plain salt flats before we get to the dunes. Cars are constantly getting stuck. It's just the game in the desert. The defenders were amazing, but in the desert, you have to get stuck. You just have to. And it's about how to get out. It's all about the experience. So they were having their own experience as support crew, while Nat and I were trying to traverse our way through the dunes and find the best possible way. So what happens in the desert? Now we're about day 26, making it through the desert day by day. Now we're hitting at least about 30. The plan was 30 kilometers a day. When I drew the entire map, I spotted out the campsites 30 meters apart all the time. And it worked out that we could do it in 50 days, actually even less possibly. And so if we do 30 kilometers a day, it was at about the desert where Nat felt like she wants to go faster because she also wants to be able to get back in time for Christmas and New Year's. You know, she's not from Oman. It's a very special time of the year and she wanted to spend that with her family. So we thought, okay, we're going to try and go a bit faster now. So instead of 30 kilometers a day, we started aiming for 40 kilometers a day. The desert is harsh. The desert is unforgiving. It's hot. It's the dry heat, but it's also a humid, cold heat in the morning. The temperature changes is so diverse. And so in the desert, I was wearing everything from just a t-shirt, and at night it was double layers of jackets, for example. It's so diverse in just the desert, which made it very difficult for us physically as well. Physically waking up every day. At this point, I will tell you, I had already an ear infection from the sea. I got an ear infection, so this was already bothering me now for a couple of weeks. I was on antibiotics. My hands were slowly healing with the blisters, but my feet were covered in blisters. So a blister wouldn't heal, and then another one would come and replace it. It was that bad. So I got to a point where you just don't even feel the bottom of your feet. You're just walking on stumps, and that's okay as long as you're moving forward. So that continued. We're walking 40 kilometers a day now. The heat is scorching, the cold is very bad. All of a sudden, day 26, we're almost at our campsite for the day, about 3 or 4 kilometers away. Very excited. It was a very long day that day, about 45 kilometers that day. And now she's running down this hill, excited, we're almost at the end. She trips. And it was a very, very bad pull. She's a doctor in the military, in the UK British military. So she evaluated herself, and unfortunately, she saw that there's just no possibility of this healing in the next few weeks. We get back to the campsite, just, okay, now don't make a rash decision. Let's think it through. Maybe tomorrow you'll feel better. Decide then. We gave it a day. Next day, she looks at it again and she says, look, there's no way. I can hardly even put any pressure on it. It will take at least a couple of weeks for me to for me to get better. We don't have a couple of weeks. You know, the schedule that we gave to the military, this was for the national day that I was doing this. So I wanted to finish at a specific time as well. This is what we told everybody, you know, it was already international, national news at least by now. So we had to get there by a certain date. So Nat and myself as a team, we made the decision that Nat's going to have to turn around and I'm going to have to do this on my own. I'll carry her flag through. We're going to still do it as an objective, Oman, UK, all the way to the end. Nat will be able to virtually follow me every day. She will be doing her part in the UK of talking to the youth and inspiring them. So our mission is very much still alive. Just things have changed along the way, and how do we cope with this? With that happening, now I have no one to look after me. All day that I'm hiking, I'm practically alone. There's no communication with our group anymore. Before it was at least Nav and I. We had a satellite phone in case if there was no connection between us and the team, we could at least call for help to Muscat and so on. So we had a system. But with Nav gone, it was just myself, and that system wouldn't really work that way. So we had to be extra precautious. The entire plan really changed on checkpoints, how often the team needs me, how we can communicate, etc. So we sat back down the day after Nav left, and we just reassessed everything as a team. What are our roles? Now, one person less. We were only 5 people to this team at any one given point, the maximum numbers of the group. So with one person gone, that's a big drop in manpower. Especially that person was my one companion who was walking with me throughout. So we looked at the plan again, made the changes that we had to, and changed our mindset, most importantly. For me, this was a very difficult point. Halfway through a very big competition or a very big race or a very big, whatever project you're doing, something clicks. Halfway through, you get to this point where, yes, I have made it halfway through. Now you know the feeling of doing half of that. But then on the other hand, you also think that all of that was only half. So now I have to double all of that effort that I just put it to make it to the end. And now I don't even have that with me. Any decision that we, on top of a mountain, which way do we take down, what looks safe, or holding someone's hand just to get down a mountain, that makes all the difference in the outdoors. When you're doing that completely alone, it's a different ballgame entirely. The risks I was willing to take alone is completely changed now. But off we went. I turned on my monitor, so at least my team would be able to see where I am every 15 minutes. If something went wrong, they could go back to my last location. I started on to leg 4. Leg 4 was the toughest thing I have done in my life. Leg 4 was an entire mind game, pure mind game. So what was amazing about this expedition, you had mental resilience, physical resilience, emotional resilience throughout this. It was a story of the game. Over here is where the mental resilience started. The fight of, I wouldn't see my support car all day. I would see them at the end of the night. I would leave them 7:30 in the morning, have my breakfast, goodbye, this is the point where we'll be meeting. If I don't come here by this time, then there's an emergency, for example. Or if I don't come in at this time to issue the one, it's still okay. At that point, the land, the terrain changed like it was Mars almost. It was sort of valleys, which it's no longer a plain, it's a plain that you have ditches, and then another plain with ditches, like craters almost. So it's walking through these craters 3 or 4 days, and the terrain was so about that much of soft powder sand. And it's worse than desert sand. Desert sand, at least you've got some traction, you can move forward. This one, it sinks like it sinks your soul. It sinks your feet like it sinks your soul. With each step, I felt like each step was equivalent to 10 steps. It was never ending. At one point, I sat down, I fell down, and I just cried. There was no one around me. I hadn't seen humans for days. My support car, I knew, was at the campsite. I knew I was safe over here. I don't think I'd be sharing the story, but I just cried. I let it all out, all of those blisters, all that pain, all those 6 years of dreaming, all those kilometers we walked, all those blisters that burst, all the fights we had. It just came crashing down. All the expectations that people had, I can't let down. Each step is so difficult. How am I supposed to do 70 more kilometers today? Forget about tomorrow. How do I do this today during my team? So I walked out, I cried, and let it all out. After I let it all out, there came a sort of very clear, concise thought in my head. And it was, what you have to do is, you've come this far. At what point? Interestingly, the thought of giving up had never come to my mind. Even at that point, the thought of giving up, that never came through. The only thought that came through, even at that point, was, why am I doing this? Why? And at that point, when I finished crying and feeling sorry for myself, then the why came. And the why came when I remembered all of those people throughout these, say, 40, for example, now we are at. All these 40 days, I have seen people following me on Instagram. Really inspiring messages. People think I inspire them. It's very much the opposite. People who follow me, who say a kind word every now and then, they inspire me to take that extra step, to walk that extra, to let that extra blister pop along the way. It's fine. I'm inspiring for people. I am in that position where I'm able to, and if I can make one change with one person, inspire them to be a bit more resilient in their lives, to try something different, I'm going to take this next step. And so I took the next step, and the next, and the next. And that was, even now, as I'm saying this story, it was a very emotional time for me. And I made it through, and I was so happy at that campsite when I made it there, that every single day after that, those 30 kilometers that I had to do every day, I started cutting it into 20 kilometers of walking, 10 kilometers of running. I started running. I had like just this weight on my shoulders, and I just ran and enjoyed every moment until we got to leg 5. And so this is the final bit, but the most interesting. This is the part where no support can come through. 5 days through these wadis. Wadis, the dry riverbeds, basically, in the southern part of Oman, where Arabian leopards are meant to be. It's a reserve, basically, so not many people go through there. It's no access by there. So the military decided to support them for a year with 2 armed soldiers that were going to drop down with us into the wadi, and they would support us with food and water supplies, which we had already agreed the coordinates of, every few kilometers. So that's once a day when we get to our campsite at night, instead of the support crew being there, our food and water would be there, which the helicopter had dropped off days ago. We agreed on that. We get into this wadi, we say bye to our support crew. We decide to meet them at the other end of the wadi 5 days later. Getting into this wadi, Dr. Khalid is with me again. He's like a child in the outdoors. He's a 60-year-old man, bless him, but his heart is of a child. He sees rocks, he'll start jumping on them. So we get to this one point where we have to traverse our way down a wadi. It wasn't very clear, it was like quite a steep drop. I find one way, which was pretty simple actually, very lucky to find, almost like steps going down. As I was doing that, behind a big boulder, we split ways at this point, behind the big boulder where Dr. Khalid was, I hear a scream, really loud scream. Oh no, and a crash. Dr. Khalid, what's wrong? He said, I'm okay. A few seconds later, my heart was in my mouth. And he said, I'm okay. I see him coming around the corner. He's holding his shoulder lace, and that was it. That was the end of his shoulder, basically. Later, we find out after the expedition, and he went for checks, an entire tear in the tendon. So his arm basically, just let you know, throughout these next 5 days of storytelling, it was useless, basically. So we are with him in his backpack. He was adamant, I'm going to continue. I just need my legs, I don't need my arms. So off we went. He took some painkillers and lots of it as we continued through this wadi. The army dropped their 2 support guys. We started on our expedition through the wadi. On the very first few kilometers, first 10 kilometers to be precise, we made a little bit of an error using the maps. We had Google Earth, the army had another map. When we put them both together, we had some miscalculation. We ended up taking the wrong wadi by mistake. By the time we realized that, it was already 2 hours in, which means 2 hours going back again, which means 4 hours gone. We have limited hours of daylight for that day, which means the helicopter stops where they have dropped our foods 24 kilometers away is not a possibility to get to tonight. So we already had a first problem. We go through this wadi, find our shelter, call for the helicopter support. They come and they drop us the food just for that day. They said, no more, we're not doing this again. Every time you ask for this, food expenditure. So we're like, okay, sorry, this won't happen again. Next day, we're going through this, and it's really treacherous terrain here, okay? We're carrying 35 kilograms at least of food and water in our backpacks. And it is just really treacherous rocks, climbing, huge canyons that you've got on either side. And we get to our first drop of food and water, which is for that night. And we search the entire area, entire premises. We do a complete search, nothing is there. We're searching and searching for hours. If we don't find it here, we've got to walk another 24 kilometers. It's already night. There's no chance we can do that. Why isn't it here? We call our helicopter rescue. Turns out, and stolen. So at this point, we realize that it's not just us in these wadis. These wadis are actually highly populated by pirates. Somali pirates, basically, who go in there and they collect the frankincense. It's an illegal trade, but some of them do get through. The army is very heavily involved in trying to sort this out. So this was our story over there in the very last bit. But here's the key of this whole thing. My question to you, and I hope that the light doesn't go red now. My question to you is, when does resilience become a negative thing? So we're through this wadi, we're going through the wadi, we get to one point, and this point was crucial because on our maps, in our planning over these last few years, that point was never clear. So we always knew we're going to have to make our chances once we get there. We get there, we're looking around, there's no way down into this wadi. We have to go down the wadi and up another wadi. There's no safe way. I asked Dr. Khalid, he goes, looks around, the army guys look around, I look around, there's no apparent way down. We could do it, but we would be risking it. Different route, but it was one small mistake and you were down for sure, especially with your heavy backpacks of 40 kilograms at this point. There is no way we can make it, basically. So I asked my team, and at this point I'm sitting on the edge of the cliff. I've just finished those 47 days now of 1,200 plus kilometers. At this point, can I stop being resilient? There's no obvious way down. My partner is injured. Dr. Khalid had his arm was already. One of the army guys, his knee, he had an operation just recently. He wasn't very comfortable on his knees. One small mistake, we're off the cliff. 6 years of dreaming, 2 years of planning, 1,200 kilometers of walking, all those listeners, all those people who are following us. Is this the point where I stop? I had to. Because now it wasn't about me anymore. It wasn't about resilience. The question came to my mind that when does resilience start becoming negative? When, at what point should you just stop being stubborn and start looking at the other options around you? When do you learn to give up the fight just for that moment, to go back, get stronger, be better prepared, whatever it is, to come back and actually do that fight and not lose it? I want to go ahead with that fight and be resilient all the way through. I wouldn't be accepting. I would be accepting that these people would possibly fall to their death and not my fault. So I didn't. I decided not to make that decision. Go ahead and give up on this resilience and accept the changes that came with it. You know, resilience also at some points. If you're too resilient, you won't accept change because you're stubborn. You're just thinking in that direction. But being resilient to change, that's a whole different topic. So. Yes, basically, this is what came to my mind at this point, that I can't be resilient to the point where I put someone else's life at stake. Until we stopped the expedition at that point, we did ask for the helicopter support. They dropped us to the next campsite, and we actually continued this all the way. I've got this final video to share, and this just shows the most important part of this expedition for me through all those years of planning, and I never thought we would come to this point where before the end of the expedition, just the 10 kilometers, as I was walking to the end line, and you know, really disappointed that I'm doing this alone. You know, my companion couldn't make it through with me. Dr. Khalid at this point had left back to Muscat as well. And it just felt like an anticlimax until this happened. Can we see the video, please? So this is the moment I get down the mountains of Mirbat and I see this massive group of people, men, women, all nationalities. Yeah, Domanis, these are ladies from the Zafar, Falada. Some of these hadn't hiked even a few kilometers in their lives, and they decided to walk with me all the way to the end. And so there was about 60 people walking with me at the last 10, 15 kilometers through these wadis, all the way to the point where I accomplished my dream, and the dream of other followers as well, the dream of Nat by holding that flag up. And that was the other goal.
Hi, thank you so much, Anissa.
Thank you, Talika.
Thank you so much for the lovely speech. I am so inspired that I feel like going to the North Pole right away, in spite of so many challenges. So thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us here today and motivating us and helping us, truly. And indeed, you are resilience personified.
I think everyone over here is resilient for being able to be a part of this contest. So
thank you so much, Anissa, for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, audience, we have an exciting segment coming up now. Now we have the announcement of the Arabic contest winners. And to do so, we have with us distinguished Toastmaster, Zara Shaitu. She has a great passion for Toastmasters. She joined Toastmasters in 2005 as a member of Area 1 Lebanon. She's a founding member of the first English Toastmasters Club in Lebanon. It's called Speakers and Leaders. And she's also the founder of the first Arabic Toastmasters Club in Lebanon called Bahad Club. She's also the founding member of the very first online cross-district club. She served in several leadership roles at club, area, and division level. And she is currently DTAC 2021 Marketing Chair. Over to you, distinguished Toastmaster Zaira Shadu.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Tolika, for this presentation and this introduction. Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon. It's such a pleasure to be here with you and to be announcing the results of the first two Arabic contests that have started taking place since yesterday. We had one going on simultaneously along with the semifinals of the international contest. And as well, this morning, we had our second speech contest. Working in the concept of resilience, we have two events going in parallel, and I will be announcing what has been going on in the past event. Our first Arabic contest was the humor speech contest, and we would like to congratulate the first 3 place winners, who are first place Toastmaster Mu'taz Al-Shara from Division A, Toastmaster Yasser Al-Maskari, second place winner from Division E, and the third place winner of the humor speech contest Arabic contest, Toastmaster Omar Al-Aqul from Division H. And what about the second contest? Actually, the second contest took place just this morning, and the results are as follows. It was the table topic speech contest. The first place winner in table topic speech contest Arabic is Toastmaster Subhi Aqbek from Division L. And the second place winner is Toastmaster Salima Al-Hamadaniya from Division D. And our third place winner in table topics Arabic speech contest is Toastmaster Ahlam Al-Lamkiya from Division B. Congratulations to all of the winners of the very first two Arabic contests. And next week, we're going to also have the remaining two contests. So looking forward to announcing our champions for the two remaining Arabic contests. Back to you, Master of Ceremony, Toastmaster Tolika.
Thank you, DTM Zara Shaitu, for announcing the results, and congratulations all the winners for the contest. Now we have come towards the end of the session. I would like to take this opportunity and thank the entire DTAC team for giving me this wonderful opportunity to be your MC for today. And thank you for putting in so much of effort and burning the midnight oil to make this event a huge success. Last but not the least, a big thank you to the audience who are watching us live on YouTube and who will be watching us in the future. Thank you for being with us here this Saturday afternoon. We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we will meet again on a beautiful day, somewhere, sometime, for sure. Masalama, Allah Hafiz, goodbye, and have a wonderful evening ahead. This is RJ Pilika signing off.